What up, G-Life fam? It's your boy M Shadow. Back with another video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share. Check out the playlist. The playlist on the main page. On top, it should say playlist. That's where I have all the videos in their own folders. You know, makes the video you're looking for a lot easier. Whether it's just the gang stuff, reactions, music, whatever. It's all in their own folders. Now, what I wanted to talk about today, like the title says, nicknames of neighborhoods. You know, how do you get your nickname? How do you guys go about the whole nickname and all of that? Now, there's different ways about how nicknames work. But it's as easy as how it's given to anybody in this world. Because in this world, almost everybody has a nickname. You know, the name your family calls you, your closest friends, maybe in the workplace. But the whole point is that almost everyone has a nickname that they're given. You know what I mean? By somebody. That's just how it is. Why society runs like. And I'm not just saying with Hispanics. I mean with like everybody. They all, you know, refer to their family members as, you know, just a certain thing that only, you know, the closest of the closest call you. So that is what a gang. Now, what a gang basically is, though, why it's giving nicknames and everything like that, is like you're now entering a new family, right? So they're your family. So you're given like a new name, kind of like when you're born, your parents give you a name. So right here, you're entering a new family, right? This is your family. So they're giving you now a name, in which they're going to call you by. And 9 times out of 10, when the person comes into the neighborhood, he already has a nickname that he already goes by. You know what I mean? There's already something that his homies call him. You know what I mean? And the nickname's going to have to do either with something that you like doing, or how you look, you know, something with your appearance, or an activity you like doing, or anything of that nature, you know? Like if you're skinny, you know, it's flaco, or the homie gordo because he's fat, or the homie slow because he's a little slow, or the homie hyper because he's hyper, or the homie spooky because he's ugly and terrifying looking, and you know, the homie payaso or joker because they like to clown around, you know, stuff like that. You know, it has to do with your character. Now, there's other people that give themselves a nickname. You know what I mean? That for some odd reason they want to go by that nickname. I don't know. You know what I mean? You have to ask you have to ask that personal individual why he went about that. You know what I mean? And some people exaggerate on like, hey, they call me chopping heads off. Like, what the hell? Or they call me I'll kill you if you diss me. Like, you know, some people try a little too hard. I don't know, insecurity. I don't know, to be honest with you. Now, so that's how they go about their, you know, like the nicknames, why they're given, because like you're entering a new family and how you go. Now, there's some nicknames, right? Because there's some names that trip people out. Because, you know, they used to be taggers. And taggers are a little bit different in how they choose their nicknames. Taggers choose, like, they grab the letters that they like to, like, you know, the letters that they could do the best in their artwork. You know what I mean? And they just mash those letters together to form their nickname. Or each letter means something different. You know what I mean? That's just pretty much how they go about it. You know what I mean? Like each letter means something different. Like I met like Severes, Revokes, Enders, Pib. You know, nicknames like that where just like each letter means something. You know what I mean? And that's because they used to be taggers that got into, you know, gangbanging. You know what I mean? Because there's taggers that are with it. You know what I mean? They have everything that's, you know, creates a gang member except the knowledge or the knowing a gang member, and then once they meet that person, whatever, then it pretty much, they just join the organization. You know what I mean? The stars were aligned. It was just missing that last piece of the puzzle, and then if he ever meets a homie like that, bam, the puzzle fits. He ends up being a gang member from a hood. Now, so that's how, you know why there's some names out there that are like, it trips people out. Because I mean, it's not just as basic as Flaco or Joker or nicknames like that. You know, you do meet individuals that have like some, you know, pretty off their names. You know, like Zapatos or the homie Throw Up or the homie Sewer, or, you know, like there's some names, man. I'm telling you, homie, you'll be tripping out. You know. I'm gonna tell the story that I had told on one of my lives. You know, and this is a real story. I'm not. You guys already know. I never have to lie or wolf or make up any stories or nothing like that. I have met a homie. I'm not gonna burn him out. I'm not gonna say where the vato's from, but he's from the MacArthur Park area. You know, from that west part of LA, right there. The homie's nickname was Dildos. Now, why was his nickname Dildos? Because he said he used to work in a factory where make that, and that's just the name that the homies gave him. You know what I mean? And like, it was their own clowning around type thing, but it's still, you know what I mean? But don't get me wrong, the homie was with it. The homie was about his business. Don't ever get it twisted. The homie was down for his shit, you know? Even though his name was like, what the fuck, homie? Like, God, my name is that, my boy, you know? But, hey, at the end, you know what I mean? I even told the man, homie, we used to mop that shit up. He's like, yeah, or sometimes I would just put D. Like, no, mames. But he was about his business, homie, so I can't take nothing from that individual. You know, it's a little off name, but, I mean, you know, it is what it is. But you meet a lot of individuals with some weird-ass names. You know? A true story. Yeah, that's just the way it is. So that's how, you know, you go by your nicknames. You know what I mean? It's your own personal identity. You know, now it's just building up your character. You know, like how you know go about yourself. Like me, like for example, how it's also given is if you have family members, like let's say if your family members from the hood, or your uncle, or your cousin, or your brother, or something like that, they'll end up giving you his nickname, right? Like, oh, this is little Joker, baby Joker, or whatever. That's because you're taking their name, right, their legacy, right, and carrying it on. You know, kind of like when they give you your dad's name, or you know, like that. You know, where you're a junior. Like me personally, I have 9 family members from my hood. I have, you know, my jefa and her 3 brothers and my aunt from my mom's side, and then from my dad's side is my dad, his brother, and his brother and his 2 cousins, right? And then my cousins as well. So 11 members up from the hood. Just 2 of my cousins. So that's 11 in total. Man, that's a lot. You know, so all I known was just this life in my neighborhood and stuff like that. You know, obviously they're older than me. You know what I mean? But I never wanted to. I wanted to be my own person, because I know that sometimes when you take people's nicknames or stuff like that, you know, they look at like they give you special privileges because those are your family members, or you're just living off of their fame or their hype. So I didn't want none of that on my rap sheet, on my resume, on nothing like that. I wanted to be my own individual. I wanted to be my own person. I didn't want to be nobody else's, because, you know, my dad, you know, Playboy. They wanted to call me Little Playboy. I wasn't having it, you know, because me and my dad never really had no relationship. He wasn't there when I was growing up. You know, as soon as he found out my mom was pregnant, he did. I didn't meet him until later on, you know what I mean, when we from the hood, and, you know, and yada yada yada. So we didn't have the best, you know, relationship. Obviously, you know, there was some animosity there that I felt. I felt some type of way, you know what I mean? Like, okay, you could come for a gang meeting, but you can't come for, you know, to see your son. Anywho, you know, like it was just you know, an odd scenario, you know what I mean? But I was cool with his brother, you know what I mean, which is my uncle, and his cousins, right, who were always at my house, you know. So I was able to meet all of them way before I even got the chance to meet him, you know what I mean? Because I didn't meet him way down the line, you know, when I was ready, you know, obviously, because, you know, I just wanted to avoid, you know, him and stuff like that. But, you know, it created there was a lot of anger there, you know. I ain't even gonna say that there wasn't. So I wasn't having that. And then, you know, I had my uncles, you know, because we always lived in the same household, right? My uncles, my aunt, and ourselves, you know, they all pitched in together. They had a, you know, house or whatever. So I always lived right there. I always had the chaos around me. You know, it wasn't where like I was living with my jefa and I would go visit my tios. No, they always lived where we lived. So we always lived together. So the house was always jam packed full of gang members. You can only imagine. You know, because the homies would just always come to our pad to chill. So our pad was the pad to be at. You know, it's the place to be. Pues, due to so many family members just already being there, it's like, you know, and it's a pad. So, you know, we lived in the hood. We always lived in the hood. So, you know, you could only imagine I was around the chaos. So when the enemies were coming looking, all the action was coming down in my household. You know, growing up as a young child, you know, seeing all the madness. You know what I mean? Houses getting raided. You know, the works. You know, while other people were just seeing it in movies and TVs, I was actually experiencing it and living it. So what they were talking about that they seen in the movie, like I actually was, a part of, and actually knowing what to do already, the procedures and steps and and stuff like that. So I already, I got corrupted at a very young age. So they wanted to give like my uncles like the nicknames that they had or whatever, but I wanted to be my own person. I didn't want nobody, saying that because of your uncles or none of that. I wanted to be my own individual, my own identity. So I actually had one of my grandpa's brothers. When he obviously when he met me, because I think he lived in New York, or it was his cousin. I think my grandpa's cousin. He lived in New York. He was like, "Oh, está bien moreno, está bien negrito como una sombra," So. He called me sombra. Sombra. I didn't know what sombra meant, obviously, because my Spanish wasn't all that great. Because my parents were born here. My mom and dad were born here. My mom speaks nothing but English. She speaks Spanish, but she talked to us nothing but in English. The only reason I know Spanish, because my brothers and sisters, they don't know Spanish. But the reason I know Spanish is because of my grandma. You know what I mean? Because obviously, me and my mom don't have the best relationship. We don't have no relationship at all. You know what I mean? It's better a little bit now. It's still a little rocky. But it is what it is. There was a lot of animosity there too as well. Like I said, man, it's just I had a tough childhood, boys. So, like I didn't know what that was, until like it was explained. I found out what sombra meant. Like, oh, right, shadow. Okay, so I actually like that. That's the name that my cousins would call me as well. So it just stuck. And that was the nickname I went by, because I didn't want to take none of my uncle's nicknames. I didn't want to be no Temper, no Grumpy, no Downer, no Vampy, no Bullet, no Duke, no Playboy. No, none of that. I wanted to be my own individual. So I had that. The reason why, because in my neighborhood, we have 6 cliques. And all my uncles, my uncles from the youngsters clique, my other uncles from the pequeños, my other uncles from the winos, my other uncles are from the youngsters. The other ones are from pequeños, youngsters, winos, and then my aunt is avenues. So they're all from different cliques, but nobody was from the locals clique. That was from my family. That's the reason why I wanted to get into the locals. Because when I first got in, I was from the avenues, but I got jumped in the first time. But then I got another jump in, 2 jump ins, because the locals was one of the original first cliques. And it's the one that has the respectful members, and you gotta pay homage, homie, if you're from the locals. You gotta so you gotta get that little extra, homie, a little extra. You know what I mean? So went through the process of all that. You know what I mean? Homies felt I was worthy, of the cause from that clique, and yeah. So that's the reason why I drove. That's the reason I had so much drive to be to reach that clique, because I wanted to be my own person, my own individual. You know what I mean? Different from them. They have their rap sheet. They're good. All my family is good. None of them are dropouts or PCs, or some of them are still functioning active, even though they're at their age where they're already old. It's just that's just the way we were brought up. Like we're just I don't know. We different. My family's different. You know what I mean? We just keep it. We have this thing. We have this attachment to loyalty. Like we just keep it G. I don't know. To be honest with you. But the reason I am the way I am and how I carry myself, the way I carry myself, is also because of them. I learned it from them, seeing them. They were like my idols, my role models. Not the best role model, like I said. I'm not bragging this. I'm not glorifying it, because it's sad, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? But it is what it is what I'm trying to say. There's no use crying over spilled milk. What's done is done. I'd rather be like a professor or a lawyer or a doctor. You know what I mean? But fuck it. At least I could teach my kids better. For they could reach them goals. You know what I mean? At least I look at the good of it. My battles and my flaws and all the mistakes I made. Now I get to teach my kids not to make the same mistakes that I did. That way their future could be better. So at least I know which signs to look out for. I know what makes them think like this. So I know how to go about the situation, so they don't turn out how I did. So I look at the positive in it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just wanted to be my own individual and just go about my, because there is some that just leech off of their family's fame and and all of that, and you know that they ain't really about it. You know, they just, you know, because of their brothers or cousins. You know, like people give them that benefit of the doubt or that sympathy. I didn't want none of that. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's just how people get their nicknames, how it works about it, and a little bit of background on me and my nickname and all of that, and you know what I mean? But you know, it's a quick video. And shout out, we out.